Most people don't rise with purpose. You've chosen clarity over chaos. Now, how do you build momentum, not just motivation? The answer is simple. Rituals. The Stoics didn't drift into the day hoping to feel good. They built structure. They created anchors. They practiced inner strength in very real, physical ways. Let's begin with the most powerful habit Marcus Aurelius used daily, something so simple it's almost always overlooked. Writing. The 3-line journal. You don't need a fancy notebook. You don't need an hour of silence. You need a pen and honesty. Marcus wrote not to be read, but to remind himself. Each morning he sat a day and asked, "What kind of man will I be today?" You can do the same. Just 3 lines, that's it. Line 1, gratitude. What am I thankful for this morning? Line 2, intention. How do I want to show up today? Line 3, reflection. What did I learn from yesterday? This tiny ritual is powerful because it realigns your mind with purpose. Instead of letting the world tell you how to feel, you remind yourself of what matters. And here's the truth. The world doesn't care if you're centered, but you will feel the cost if you're not. Your journal is your mirror. Use it. Return to it. Keep it simple. Keep it real. Move the body. Awaken the will. The Stoics weren't just thinkers. They were doers. Epictetus was a crippled slave, but still trained his body. Seneca fasted, walked long distances. Marcus took cold walks through the palace grounds before the sun rose. Why? Because to lead yourself, you must first command your flesh. Your body isn't the enemy. It's your proving ground. A few stretches, a short walk, 10 push-ups before the shower. That's not exercise, that's evidence. You're showing your mind. I act, I move, I lead. You don't need perfection. You need to remind yourself that you're not controlled by comfort. Cold, quiet, and uncomfortable. On purpose. In Stoic practice, controlled discomfort was sacred. Seneca would eat plain meals, sleep without pillows, and wear rough clothes. Why? To remind himself that he could endure. To train his nervous system not to panic when life stripped away the easy. You can bring this into your morning with one simple act. Turn the water cold. A cold shower is not about punishment. It's about preparation. It says, if I can do this, I can do anything. The Stoic doesn't seek ease. He seeks clarity through challenge. And the morning is the perfect place to begin that training. Memento mori. Remember you will die. Now we go deeper. There is one thought that sharpens the mind faster than anything else. I could die today. Not as fear, not as sadness, but as fuel. This ancient Stoic meditation, memento mori, isn't about morbidity. It's about urgency. When you realize today might be your last sunrise, you don't waste it scrolling. You don't hesitate on the words that need to be said. You don't hide from the work you were born to do. You show up. You move with meaning. You lead with grace. You speak with fire. This is what it means to win the morning. Not to dominate the clock, but to reclaim your soul before the world can take it. And if you're feeling this, if you're ready to take these rituals into your own life, hit subscribe to Stoic Aura. This channel exists for one reason, to help you become the calmest, clearest, strongest version of yourself. We don't chase hype here. We chase harmony. And that begins every morning with you. They wake up in a blur, distracted, heavy, and already overwhelmed. Your morning doesn't begin with movement. It begins with mindset. The first breath, the first thought, that moment, before you speak, before you scroll, is the fork in your day. And here's the truth. Most of us wake up reacting, not to real emergencies, but to digital noise and obligations we didn't consciously choose. Feet on the floor, but the mind already running, already spinning. That space between unconscious sleep and full awareness, it's small, but inside it is the first real decision of your day. Will I lead this morning, or will I let it lead me? That's the question the Stoics would ask themselves, not with panic, but with purpose. When your alarm rings, it's not just telling you to wake up, it's offering you a choice. Do you reach for your phone and drown in other people's priorities? Or do you pause, even just for a few seconds, to breathe, to return to yourself? Because that pause, as small as it seems, is sacred. That stillness, just 30 seconds of awareness before the world enters, might be the most powerful part of your entire day. Because the way you enter the world shapes how you experience it. Seneca once said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." And your morning, that's the wind. If you don't set a direction, don't be surprised when your entire day feels like driftwood. Now, understand this. Your brain, especially in the first 15 minutes after waking, is wide open. Psychologists call this the alpha state. Your mind is like wet clay, ready to be molded. Whenever you feed it in that moment, chaos, comparison, stress becomes your operating system. But if you feed it clarity, if your first question is something like, "How do I want to show up today?" you give your mind a compass, a direction, a posture. This isn't about toxic positivity or some perfect routine. This is about intention. Because your life doesn't change when you get lucky. It changes when you get deliberate. Carl Jung said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." And what you do always starts with what you believe, and what you believe begins with what you focus on. That's why how you wake up matters, not just the time, but the tone. And no, you don't need to become a monk. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. and meditate on a mountain. But you do need to own your energy before the world takes it from you. Before notifications, before conversations, before responsibilities. Just you and your internal compass. So tomorrow morning, before you stand up, ask yourself, who do I want to be today? What would that version of me do first? How would they move, think, speak? You're not scripting your life. We're shaping it, one clear decision at a time. That's not just a habit, it's a warning sign, because how you begin your day silently shapes how you move through it. If the first thing you do is scroll into someone else's life, don't be surprised when you lose control of your own. And let's be honest, most of us are running on fumes before we've even stepped outside. Not because we're lazy, but because we've never been taught how to start strong. That's the real crisis. You see, if your morning begins in panic, notifications, mental clutter, emotional noise, you don't just lose time, you lose your posture. And once your mind falls into survival mode, the whole day becomes a reaction. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. But how can you become anything if your morning begins with noise and confusion? If you wake up to anxiety before your feet hit the floor, that's not tiredness, that's misalignment. That churning in your chest isn't just discomfort, it's your inner self signaling that you've already lost your center. And the worst part? You normalize it. You call it life. You wear the stress like a badge and carry it into every conversation, every task, every breath. So let's drop the mask for a moment. Because most of us don't wake up and conquer the day, we hit snowance. We scroll. We check for messages we didn't ask for. We get pulled before we even have the strength to stand. And by the time we finally show up, we're already behind. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. A chaotic morning is like pouring sugar in your gas tank. Of course you feel slow. Of course things feel heavier. But here's the truth Stoicism gives us. You are always one decision away from taking your power back. And that starts in the morning. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Your chaotic mornings aren't obstacles. They are your invitation, your call to action. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." So if you're tired of waking up in chaos, if you're ready to stop drifting and start leading, you're in the right place. And if this is the mindset you want more of, subscribe to Stoic Aura, where stillness becomes strength and mornings become your battleground. Because this isn't just a video, it's a reset. Let's begin. It's strange, isn't it? How the smallest moment, the seconds between waking and moving, can shape everything that follows. So you've taken your pause,